name of the podcast is Messed Up to Set Up. And I named it that because I'm a pretty messed up dude. And a lot of the jokes in life come from just the things that are messed up. Right. And so those mess ups are, great things that eventually can lead into some joke setups. So, and then eventually punchlines. So Messed Up to Setups, that's where the name comes from. I, an academic, as a professor, an educator, I love researching and studying, and I'm sort of obsessed with comedy, the nuts and bolts of comedy, especially joke writing. And so in this portion of the episode, I want to hear Dia share about a joke she's got and how that where that came from and how she got it to her current forms. Things seem so messed up, but it's just a setup. So, Dia, I'm going to let you talk for a little bit. And if you're cool with sharing a joke with us and then sort of the genesis and process of that, that'd be awesome.
Okay, so this one I was reading an article about how millennials are part of the sandwich generation because we're sandwiched between like looking after elder parents and like our younger kids, which it's hard for some cultures to understand. Like, especially when I speak to some of my white friends, like they're like, we just call our parents on like Mother's Day and Father's Day. But like the Indian culture, right? It's we're meant to like look after our parents. So as my parents were aging, they also immigrated to Australia, and that was when I had kids as well. So I was when I read the article, I was like, okay, there's definitely a joke in here because my parents moved, and so my parents moved, and I could look after them, and they could look after the kids, and then I was like, okay, so then what are the kids doing? Like, and so then the joke ends with, I asked my parents to move in with me so I can look after my parents can look after my kids, and my kids can look after their iPads because like my kids are always on the iPad. So that's basically the history of the joke. And then I was playing with, do I say, oh, so I can keep an eye on my parents can keep an eye on my kids, and my kids can keep an eye on their iPads. Anyway, I ended up going with looking after, but that joke always works, even when people don't have kids, because I guess they understand the whole.
Just thought of a tag for that if you're open to it. So you have I want to look after my parents look after the kids look after their iPads. Good joke. A simple tag could be something like, and if the iPad was made in China, the Chinese government look after us all.
That's hilarious. I should write that down.
So that's interesting. The joke started with the article and just grew out of there. How long from reading the article to actually starting to write or come up with the joke? Was it like immediately? Or?
Yeah. Typically, if I read something, it's pretty immediate. Like, okay, another one that I've got is like, I don't know if you watched the Golden Globes, but Nikki Glaser, she had like 10 outfit changes, right, at the Golden Globes. So when I saw that, I was thinking, oh, I have like, I have immigrated, like I've lived in different countries. I've also lived in like South Africa, Netherlands, and Australia, India. So I was like, man, I have immigrated as much as Nikki Glaser changed her outfits, right? So then I was thinking of like a joke around that. And I was like, I change zip codes faster than Nikki Glaser changes her outfits. So then it typically happens like in that moment for me. And then if I don't write it down, it's gone. I could never ever recollect that joke.
Yeah. Dude, so crucial to write that down. Like literally I can be in the shower and think of a joke. And by the time I get out of the shower, it's just gone. Like it happens so many times. Yeah. So you got to write that down immediately. So that's interesting. And it tends to, the inspiration just strikes kind of like all at once. Like that's kind of how it tends to work for you.
It does. Yeah. So, and it strikes at the weirdest places. Like I said, I'll be in the middle of a class in the gym. Like, I was in the middle of this Zumba class once. And then I was getting all these jokes and I was like, I can't write them down because I'm in the middle of this. Yeah, it never strikes like when I'm sitting at my desk. It'll be at some random place. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm trying to force myself to do that. Like I was mentioning on the previous episode about, I post a daily joke on Twitter, right? That's all I use it for. Like I don't have much of a following on there at all. I just started it, but I just post a daily joke on there, and that forces me, and it's usually a current events kind of thing. That'll force me to sit down and write at least one joke a day. But I find that isn't as fun as just when something comes and you're like, oh, I got to get this out. I got to get this down on the phone or on paper or whatever. So that's interesting. When you run jokes by your husband, I'm curious about this. Does your husband, you said your husband finds you funny, right? In the previous episode. Same with me and my wife. Like, I think the thing that has made our marriage last, other than our faith, is like just laughter, right? That's like the thing that's held it all together. But when I tell her my joke, like she doesn't necessarily think they're funny. But then I'll take it on stage and it's funny, right? I just intuitively know this joke is funny, whether she thinks it's funny or not. So your husband does is he think your written jokes are funny? What's his reaction to your written jokes, your stage material?
Yeah. So he thinks some of it is funny, but you're right. Like there was this one joke where he didn't think it was funny at all, and he was like, "Don't use it." I still used it, and I got like this massive laugh. And he's like, "I don't understand. Why are they laughing? It's not funny at all." But then there's stuff that he finds funny, which won't necessarily like translate into like laughs from the crowd. So I'd say initially when I was starting off and I was running jokes past him, he had a lot more like constructive criticism. But off late, when I run things past him, he's like, "Oh yeah, that's good, that's good." Yeah. So I think maybe I've evolved as a writer as well. But like initially, he'd be like, "Oh, this needs a complete I mean, I don't think it's like hitting the punches." So yeah, that's changed. But like you said, like between a couple, things you find funny can be situational, right? Like something you've done together, you've been somewhere, you met someone. And, those jokes obviously don't necessarily translate into stand-up comedy jokes. So in that sense, he found me funny because like, something silly would happen at home or something like that. But from a stand-up comedy perspective, I feel like I had to earn my respect from him as well.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. So you do get some laughs out of him. It's funny. My wife will be like, "Yeah, I would chuckle at that," and I'm like, "I'm not looking for want to laugh. I don't want to chuckle." Or my teenage daughter will be like, "I would giggle at that." No, I don't want to giggle. Like So, or sometimes it's like, "Okay, I'll take a giggle," because if I get, like a chuckle or a giggle out of one of them, like it's probably gonna work on stage.
So I do run some of my clean humor with my 9-year-old son, and he's actually really good. Like he is very good at impressions. Like he can do an Aussie accent, and he can do an Indian accent, and he can do the American accent. So I will do like some of my impression jokes with him. Like I've got this bit about a driving instructor in where I failed my license, and so I'll do that to see if he like finds that funny. But yeah, if he doesn't find it funny, then I know it's definitely gonna bomb. Because like if a 9-year-old doesn't find it funny and it's clean humor, then I'm not gonna do it.
That's interesting. I think the kids can be a good, thermostat for whether a joke's gonna work or, how it'll work or not. But well, I appreciate you sharing those jokes and sort of how they came to be. It's always fun to hear that. Feel free to take that tag about China if you want.
Yep.
All right, so we're gonna shift into writing some jokes. We've heard from Dia how she came up with a joke and sort of actually a couple of jokes, sort of the processes of those. Now we're gonna write some jokes. And what we can use to do this, if you're watching, I'm gonna screen share. I've been developing some tools, and they're pretty cool, and I want you folks to know about them. So if you go to my website, michaelhalcomb.live, and scroll down, there's a social tab. I'm looking at the desktop version here, or laptop version. And under that, you'll see joke writing exercises. If you click that, a new window will open to like a sub website I've built. And what we have here are just some activities that I've created. So we have jokes from headlines, and these are all timed 1, 5, 10, 15 minutes, however much you want to give yourself, which is good because as comedians, we're on a clock, right? When we're on stage. We also have jokes from cliches, jokes from roasting, and jokes from 2 lists. I have like 7 or 8 more of these that I've already built. I'm just rolling them out slowly. So keep checking back to this site and you'll see them. But let's just go to jokes from headlines. We'll do the minute. So this is a dynamic news prompt generator I've created. And the way this works is you just click generate prompt and it's going to give us a headline. And this is pulling from a number of different news sources. So these are today's headline, and we'll see if we can write jokes about them. So, for example, Sheba Hospital says 3 freed hostages are in stable condition. We could write about that. We'd hit start writing challenge, and keep going. I don't want to write about that one. Palestinians in Gaza look ahead with hope and fear amid uncertain ceasefire. So you see how this is working. You good to try to make up some jokes here on the spot?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. I'm getting a little feedback from you right now from my own voice. But so the way I've been doing this, we kind of usually like take a turn. So like I'll do one, you do one, but we can also just interject or interrupt too. It's not a big deal. Yeah. So let's see. Here we go. The headline is key takeaways as Donald Trump is sworn in as 47th U.S. president. All right. Key takeaways as Donald Trump is sworn in as 47th U.S. president. Biden was like, you can't take my keys away. Silly joke. Takeaway, key takeaways. You can't take my keys away. Anything come to mind here for you, Dia?
I mean, I'm thinking around the sworn in and swearing. So it's like he was sworn in with a lot of swearing from Kamala Harris or something.
Sworn in with a lot of swearing from Kamala Harris. That's good. Key takeaways is Donald Trump is sworn in as 47th U.S. president and soon to be 41st president. I don't know. He's trying to get key takeaways. Oh, minutes up. See how fast that goes. I'll do another one here. Let's see. Trump says our golden age has just begun. You can go first on this.
I'd say something around his age, a golden age. How old is he? In his 70s or something?
Right.
Yeah, I would say, yeah, that's about right. You know, given that he's
In his 70s.
in his 70s or he's got one foot in the grave.
Nice. Yeah, that's about right. Given that he's in his 70s and had one foot in the grave. No, he wasn't referring to his hair. Golden age has just begun.
I wonder if there's a joke here around the golden girl.
Yeah, I was thinking that proceeded to call Jill his golden girl. Our golden age has just begun. Unless you're Joe Biden, then it's the rust age. I don't know. Stupid. Let's try another one of these. So we have jokes from cliches. This is essentially just cliche reformation, taking a saying, idiom, cliche that we are all familiar with, or maybe not, and trying to make a joke off of it. So you just hit generate cliche. So once in a blue moon, for example, you got to put your foot down, or man doesn't live by bread alone. So I'll hit another one and then you can lead us off on this one if you want. Let's see. Slipped through your fingers. There you go.
Through your fingers. I mean, actually, I was thinking of the last time I changed one of my kids' diapers and
oh God, slipped through your fingers. So the last thing you want to hear at Planned Parenthood, I don't know. Slipped through your fingers and then you have the diaper. Reminds me of the last time I was changing a diaper. That's funny. What else comes to your mind? Slip through your fingers.
I mean, definitely, I think there's a joke around like a wedding, an engagement ring, like an engagement when you wanted to say no and then the ring just slipped through my fingers. But
exactly what happened at the altar. The ring slipped through my fingers. Nice. Here we go. Let's see. Oh, that was a good one. Babe in the Woods. Let's see. Man, some of these are funny. Waiting in the wings on the lamp. Someday you'll thank me for this. Someday you'll thank me for this. Anything come to mind? Someday you'll thank me.
I mean, so this is actual advice a friend of mine gave me about getting Botox. And she was like, you know, once you get Botox, there's no going back. And she was the same friend who said the exact same phrase about having kids. And she's like, once you have kids, there's no going back.
Someday you'll thank me for this. Advice from a friend who told me about Botox. Let's see. Someday you'll thank me for this. Boy, that's after I took my foot off my kid's head while he was underwater. There's something more there. I gotta shorten the words, but exactly what I said when I took when I pulled my kid out of the water or something like that.
Thinking just based on the inauguration today as well, someday you will thank me for this, said Donald Trump to Elon Musk about taking out the levy of electric.
Yeah, right. Wait, Elon Musk, I just saw a clip of him. He went nuts when he got on stage. Did you see that?
Yes.
And now media is saying he did a Hitler salute and all this crazy.
I mean, I guess it depends on the way you look at it. He did get a bit animated, but I think
yeah. Here, let's do some roasting. This is kind of fun. This is one of my favorite ones that I've created. And this random image roast generator. So you go here, hit generate random image, and then you got a minute to roast. So the coworker my wife hates for no reason. Anything? What do you see here?
I mean, I feel like she looks a lot like me. I say that's like me. Say that's my after picture once. Yeah, or something.
My after picture of diarrhea. That's funny. Let's see. I want to say something about her glasses. Bought these glasses at the circus or something like that. That's not very funny, but there's something about the glasses.
Like,
But
I think these are glasses without any lens on them, right? They really look like the
secretary for ISIS. Let's see. See what else. All right. We'll do the next one. Here we go. Next. All right. What about this guy?
every guy I've lost. Every guy I've lost. Basically, what I want to say is how I lose at the job interview. It's always between me and another white guy, and I always lose out to the white guy. Like every time.
Every white guy I've lost a job to. Nice. He looks like he owns a gay bar downtown.
And then also he looks like every white guy who calls me Daya. Because I'm
Let's see. Man, this one's why such the long face? He's got a really long face. Let's do another one here. Right. Oh man, this is interesting. Got anything for this one? Got a pipe in his mouth.
it's like for me, it's like that one cool white friend that I have.
My one cool white friend. Yeah, the family member I don't want to see at the family reunion.
Like that one guy who wears sunglasses indoors.
You can take your sunglasses off indoors. That's right. Yeah. So what's he got in that pipe? I want to say something about that.
At least smoke a real pipe. That doesn't even look like a real pipe, right? It looks like a cutout of something.
He's used to smoking pipe. That's funny. We'll do one more. Let's see. The equal opportunity offender here. Oh, I should have done her again. Okay. All right. Let's do this guy. Let's see. Laying in the grass here. I can't tell exactly what his ethnicity is, but looks like he's trying to sneak under the border wall while filming himself.
I mean, I also think there's a grass joke here, like high on grass or something.
Oh
like that.
yeah, nice. Low on grass, high on
Yeah.
grass, and
Yeah.
low on grass. At the same. Man, those eyebrows are intense.
He just got his eyebrows waxed, threaded, something like that.
It's funny that
And he's got that thinker pose, right? Like the thinker face. So like something around, how he'd post this thinker picture and then he'd have like some random caption.
right. I feel like my mustache is violating me or something like that. That thing's creepy. Looks like he drew a line, like used a Sharpie to draw a line across his.
Yeah.
Hey, all right, so I got some more of these. This one's kind of tough. Jokes from two lists. And the way that this one works is you just hit generate comparison. It's going to give you two just random words. So here we have method and stranger. And the idea is to come up with a joke based around those two words. You can use the two words in the joke, but you don't have to. It can just be like a springboard for the joke. And so whenever I use this, I usually start by thinking about people, place, thing, ideas, like a noun associated with method. So I think of like method man, I don't know, math, method, Bill Gates, I don't know, method. Anything come to mind for you when you think of method?
Like
Method act?
method to the madness.
Methodists. What'd you say? Madness, was it?
Yeah, there's a method to my madness, right? I mean,
Oh, nice. So then,
Stranger Things.
say it again.
Stranger Things,
Oh,
the
yeah.
show.
Like a van or an ice cream truck. And so, and now, I'm thinking of, Bill Gates in an ice cream truck or Bill Gates in a van somehow. You see, so just using the two words as a springboard to come up with some sort of connection. I always wondered what Bill Gates' method was for luring kids in, right? So there we could always wondered what Bill Gates' method was for, I don't know, luring kids in or whatever. And then trying to come up with what could Bill Gates use to lure kids in?
I mean, didn't he own MySpace? I'm just saying.
MySpace. Always wonder what Bill Gates' method was for luring kids in, looking through windows. You start a Windows. So this one's a little more challenging, and you only get 2 minutes to do this one, but we can try leg and telephone. You got any? What do you got here? What comes to mind?
Leg and telephone. Oh, interesting. I mean, okay, I'm that old that the first telephone I used, the cord would get wrapped around my leg or I trip over the.
Yes, cord wrapped around the leg. That's great. So I'm so old, my phone used to wrap around my leg or something like that. Yeah, that's good. That's a great
I
connection.
tripped the cord on my phone. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm so old. I love that. That's great. I'm so old. The first phone I used came with a cord wrapped around my leg. And then we could add a tag on there. And on occasion, so here we go. When my mom called, I wanted to wrap it around my neck. So I love this, right? Because it like, I mean, it's literally just jokes out of nowhere, right? And it's two completely random things, and you're finding this, like, these connections. Anything else pop up for you here?
I mean, I think there's, again, going back to the whole phone not being cordless, that I actually had to walk to the phone every time it rang.
I had to walk to the phone when it.
I mean, now my leg vibrates every time my phone rings.
Now my
Because
leg vibrate. Nice, nice. I had to walk to the phone when it rang. Now my leg just vibrates. That's good. Yeah, that's really good. So yeah, for those of you watching or listening, you can just again go to michaelhalcomb.live and click the joke writing exercises link, and you can use these. And be checking back because I'll be updating these in the weeks ahead. I already have several other things designed, as I said, but yes, it's pretty fun. Thanks
this is really cool. I'm definitely going to use this.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I encourage others to use it. And I was going to show people your Instagram one more time. So if you guys are on Instagram, head over to Just Dia It, DIY, Just Dia It, and see if Instagram going kind of slow right now, but here we go. So head over to Just Dia and give Dia a follow and interact with some of her stuff there. And then after you've done that, head over to Michael Halcomb Live on Instagram as well. Give me a follow. But Dia, it's been fun hanging out with you and your journey into comedy, and then some of your joke processes, and then just making jokes together. It's been fun.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Thanks for having me. I had a blast.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to wrap it up there, friends. We'll stop here and say we hope that helps.
It's all messed up. Yeah, everything's messed up. We going from this mess up to the next setup. Everything seems so messed up, but it's just our setup.